Welcome to the Kee To Growth Podcast, Home Services Marketing Unlocked, with me, your host, Jen McKee. Every week, I sit down with top marketers in the trades, from the brains behind $100 million companies to those scaling from 1 to 3, even to 10 million, breaking down exactly how they got where they are and uncover the secret to their success. If you're ready to grow your business and get real, actionable insights, you're in the right place. Let's unlock the key to your marketing success, starting now.
Key Marketing specializes in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to build your brand awareness or drive leads using social media ads. If you're ready to elevate your social media, go to keyheartmarketing.com or follow us on social media. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Kee To Growth Podcast. I am your host, Jen McKee, and I'm so excited about today's guest. I was at an event probably last fall, and I met this person. I want to kind of like bring this in, and I didn't tell you this beforehand. We were just talking about like what we were going to discuss, but she was looking for community. And what I love is that she was openly saying, I'm looking for community. I'm looking for other people to connect with. And when you ask for what you want, you're a lot more likely to get it. And I feel like over the last 6 months, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something that you've been able to find. And I'm grateful that you are a part of the same communities that I am and that I have you in my life now. So today I have Roslyn Fitzgibbons. Roslyn, if people are not familiar with you, will you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jen, for having me. And you are correct. We met last October at the Women of HVACR event in Las Vegas. That was kind of my first big girl outing that I showed up to because for the last 19 years, I've been majority behind the scenes building and co-founding a company called Eco Plumbers out of Columbus, Ohio. So my brother and I founded that in 2007. And 19 years later, we have all 4 trades because we do sewer lining as well. We have 400 employees, 4 locations, and we are a university. So we've been really busy. And like you said, I was looking for community. I spent a lot of time just kind of head down, getting to work. And when I had the moment and the realization that I needed to come up for air and say, who else is out here doing what I'm doing? And how can I create some camaraderie there and that support system? And you're right. I was on a mission and I was not shy about saying, who are you and what do you do? And how can we connect? So,
Yeah. I love that. And I want to just like spend a moment there. I know we're not going to stay there, but I do think that it's very, very common and for people listening to this podcast. So I know that as an owner, as a leader, as the leadership team of your business, you don't have that camaraderie at work for the most part. That I mean, before I owned a business, I was a restaurant manager. So there was a lot of camaraderie. Like there was so many people to connect with, especially when I went back to bartending. But when you own your own company, there's not as many people that understand what you're going through that you can have real conversations with. So the lack of community is something that I know a lot of people relate to. And then especially as women in a leadership position, as women in the home service industry, it's something that we are dealing with as well, of not having this community. So I know it's something that you've not only put yourself in, but you've also like started to create. And so do you have any, like if somebody was feeling the way that I just described, like what are some first steps that people could take to start to build a community? Because 6 months is not very long for you to feel already like you have some people around you. And so I think that's like a great like story of like, no matter where you're at right now or how you're feeling, there's so much like you can make this you can change it. It could be different in a short period of time.
You really can. I could talk about this all day, and I know it's not our primary topic, but really really quickly, I was actually pushed when somebody from the Nexstar network said to me, I didn't know there was a sister. And I was so embarrassed by it that I was like, wow, I only kind of have myself to blame that nobody knows who I am. And what from that moment forward, I got a mentor, and my mentor knew what my goals were and introduced me to a few people. And so throughout the previous couple months, I was collecting humans. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this person's amazing. This person's great. I love the conversation. And what I found was that common denominator that everybody was looking for their tribe. It wasn't just me. We were having
Right.
great conversations. And I just said, do you want to be in a peabod group, which is a personal board of directors? And my surprise, all 7 said yes, and I put it together, and for about a year now, we've been meeting and talking and sharing, and, what's interesting, and you may have seen it on Facebook, is I've helped create now additional peabod groups for, women right now. Doesn't necessarily have to just be women, but putting it out there by saying, "I'm doing this group," and somebody going, "Well, I want one," and I go, okay, let's help you find one. And so I've got an operational one. So for all women that are sitting in the operations seat, they're not the owner, but they're wearing all the hats and they're making tons of decisions. And so there's 10 women in that group that just started last week. I've got 2 owners groups. So women who own businesses in the trades or are the co-owner. And then I have just an owners group in general that kicks off in like 3 weeks. I'm just connecting humans right now, and I love it, Jen. I had no connection, and now it's like my full-time job right now to connect humans. It's great. I love it.
It's so cool, and it's just a testament to, number 1, that, like, everyone's feeling a little bit of loneliness for one reason or another, but we also have the ability to reach out and connect, and it really takes a level of vulnerability to not only say, like, I want somebody I need people, would you be willing to talk
Be
to
my
me? But
friend.
then also, like, be open in those conversations, like,
Yeah.
and reach out and say, "I need help, like, I am struggling, I am feeling like a failure right now," because these are all real things that literally everybody is experiencing at one moment or another, no matter who you are in the company, who you are in your life. Like, we feel like that as moms, we feel like that as wives, we feel like that as owners, we feel like that as operational people. Like, nobody is nobody's just feeling great every single day, and having people that you can reach out to and they can remind you, like, you're not alone in this, you're okay, is just it's such a game changer.
Yeah. I can tell you another fun group outside of my Peabod is, it's kinda like a Peabod, but we call it Trades& and Co., and it's also, solopreneurs who are just trades adjacent trying to help each other, and so we, have a group chat, we meet once a month, and right now we're all, like, wearing each other's swag and, like, it makes you feel good. You're just, like, sharing what you're doing and how you're kind of promoting each other. It feels like you have your own little cheering section. So when the days are
Yeah.
hard, somebody else is, thinking about you and wanting you to succeed. And that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think, the biggest lesson that I wanna share here is that I'll give an example. So, like, we're recording this today, it's March 25th, so my conference is next week, putting on a conference, this isn't something that I did on my own, like, at all. I've had so much help and support. My internal team has obviously been massive in doing all of the things that has made this come together, but then also all of the sponsors that believed in us and committed. It made financial investments for this conference to happen, and all of the speakers who came out of the goodness of their heart and the belief of what they can do in this industry, by being on stage and how they can inspire and motivate and share. And then all of the people who have agreed to come and spend their time and their money to come for 3 days. It's just been incredible. And there's so many times that I've had fears and doubts and questions and just like so many things. And I have people that I know have put on events that I just reach out to with whatever, like, brain dump, whatever I'm feeling at the
Yeah.
moment, which is super, like, I don't know if everyone's comfortable doing that, but I challenge you to try to do that sometimes. Like, and you'll be surprised on how people are willing. People want to help people. That's like inherently what we want to do is help other people. It makes us feel good when we're able to provide that support for people. And that's what I've done. And that's how I've gotten through this. It's just like literally 7 in the morning messaging people like, these are all of the crazy things that I'm feeling right now. Please help.
Yes,
And it makes a
that
big difference.
it's absolutely needed. Well, I'm
Having
excited because
community.
I'm one of the people who will be at your event, so I
I'm so
will get to spend
excited.
some time with you next week. I'm excited.
Me too. It's gonna be so good. Okay, so I want to move on and let's move over to what you're doing now. So you were with Eco for 19 years. If you're in the trades, you are likely familiar with Eco Plumbing. That Roslyn was the operation COO. Is that right?
I was the director of administration. So as initial co-founder, you know the seat, right? All the hats, started our call center, started dispatch, you name it. And I fell over in a seat, and I want to say fell over. I didn't choose it. It chose me, I guess. My brother
Yeah.
said, hey, I was already kind of doing a lot of the hiring and doing all the benefits administration and all that type of stuff, kind of is like office manager, managerial role. And he said, do you want to do HR? And I was like, no, I don't. I really don't. No, thank you. I loved operations. I loved
Yeah.
the day-to-day and solving. And, you know, if you're in dispatch, you know, that feeling of like playing chess all day and like the strategy behind it and all that good stuff. But I said yes. And I said that I would do like 2 years. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but that's what I said is 2 years. And a decade later, I was still the director of administration is where the title ended after being human resources. As the company grew, I had a human resources manager who worked directly for me, a recruiter. I had a learning and development manager. And so we had culture and events that sat under my role. So it kind of elevated into this director role is where
Yeah.
I was last living at Eco for about a decade and made a switch to be more of our EOS. When we first introduced EOS 10 years ago into the company, my brother was like, we're paying a lot of money for this and you better take it really seriously. And I was like,
Yeah.
I will take it seriously. You don't have to tell me twice. I love a good system. Like, let's
Yeah.
do it. And so I really kind of fell in love with the goal setting because, you know, we talked about that earlier. We're both passionate about setting goals. I was like, I love this. This is great. And like a structured approach to getting it done.
Yeah.
And so I did spend a lot of time in that space, managing projects and initiatives and kind of moving the needle on things in the company. I had an opportunity to get a Lean Six Sigma black belt during my course of project management. And I took it because I just fell in love with developing and leaning out workflows. And so the last year, I really focused on major initiatives and projects, and then also training managers and looking at processes and doing Gemba walks inside our business and our other locations to find out where we were having inefficiencies and where we could clean things up. And so backstory leads to where I decided to transition and was like, well, Eco's not the only company who needs help in this area.
Yeah.
And I've got this background and these skills that I understand that the trades need. And I know there's a lot of coaches and consultants out there that are doing amazing things. But, you know, I wanted to see if there was a space for me to help and bring some of that annual planning, the Lean Six Sigma to the trades, and then be able to just help owners and people in those operational positions kind of move the needle and get structure in place and create balance inside their business.
Yeah. So you said that the balance is between like business systems and people. So talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Okay. This is my favorite topic is balancing the human side, which is for my company as the Moxie, which is that that feeling, right? When you think of the word moxie, it's energy, it's spirit, it's the vision, it's the get after it and go, right? And a lot of visionaries have a lot of that. And then we think about the machine. So the machine is going to be those systems and standards, that quality that creates that repeatable scale. And so then what we're looking for inside of a business is to balance both. And we need just enough moxie and just enough systems in place to hit the sweet spot, because we don't want to be over energetic and overly getting after and create change fatigue inside our business. But then we can't be stagnant either, and not accepting and not willing to add in new systems, or say, hey, I'm willing to try AI and take a risk or buy into something new, right? And so we need that amount of moxie or human energy that allows us to move the needle forward. But ultimately, how do we balance that with systems and structure that build foundations that are needed? And so when I think about giving an example, a quick example that people can relate to is when you think about your company's culture, you want all the great things, right? If you're like, we want parties and we want barbecues and we want swag and we want gifts and we want to give away TVs and prizes and we want all of that, right? And we want to celebrate the wins, and that is wonderful, and you should have those 100%. But on the flip side of the coin, on the machine side for culture, are you having performance management in place? Are you having good conversations? Do people know how to show up and win? Do they have career paths? How do they contribute as an individual? That is a system that needs to be put in place that also builds culture, and a strong culture when people know how to win inside your business, how to win for themselves. And you can't just run solely on the parties and the fun. You have to have
Yeah.
the other part that creates a good culture. And so that's kind of my quick example on it.
Yeah. I'm curious. So you said that you can't have too much moxie. It has to be balanced. So as a visionary, which maybe like half of our listeners are visionaries versus integrators, or maybe some people have a little bit of both, but I like to move really quickly. And of course I have to move slower now because I have a team of people who help implement everything, but there's still times that I'm like evolving a system. So like instead of spending months perfecting a system on paper, I have always like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Let's try it and see how it works. And then like, like optimize it as it goes until we figure out, like mold it as we're working on it. So how would that fall in your Moxie versus machine? Because on one hand, like if you're looking at EOS, there's 90-day sprints. Boom, I just fit. So you set goals and you have 90 days to reach these goals. But there's like an instance that's happening in our company right now with something that I saw that really needed adjustment. So we made an adjustment to it. We made an adjustment. And then we're like in the middle of this like adjustment. And I'm like, okay, we actually like there is a big part of this that we have to change right now, because I can already see that this is going to be a problem if we don't address it like right now. So is that
I,
too fast? Like what is
no,
it? Where
I'm
does
going to
that fall?
say what you actually described is your way of creating the balance, because if you're an 80% done and send, you're working on an agile mindset, which is to work in sprints or phases, right? You roll it out, you test it, you improve. That is the system. You have it in play, but you're willing and you have enough moxie to say, we got to roll with this. 80%, we're sending it. And I'm willing to adjust later. And that is where other people won't, where somebody else who is the perfectionist or the system only, they never get to that point of launch because they're over analyzing and they're over preparing it before they will send it. And so you've actually striked that balance of saying, I'm okay with, whatever percent it might be to send. And then we're in iterations. And then your best practice is to ensure that you follow through. So don't just send it and say we're going to check back up on it. It is, when are we checking back up on it? What are we measuring? How are we coming back to it? And when there are changes that need made, how do we as a company go about rolling those out? And I think the biggest thing for visionaries is, if you don't have your integrator, find one. First of all, you need that person that can balance you. And that's why that works so wonderful from a individual standpoint, is having those two people who can work together. Great book called The Power of Two. There's another one called Second in Command, and helps create that balance of the go person and the person who's
Yeah.
like, wait, hold on. We can go, but let me think about how we're going to go. And that's
Yeah.
what we want. What I love is thinking about this today with you in marketing. And this morning when I was having, I was just gonna say coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I just tried mushroom coffee, and that's like a whole nother topic. I ordered it to try because I don't drink coffee, but had some mushroom coffee this morning.
Yeah.
um, it was okay.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question, but I'm like, how deep into mushroom coffee should we go right now?
But I was thinking, I was like, all right, well, I'm talking to Jen McKee, like marketing, like this is it, right? It's a marketing
Yeah.
podcast. And so I was thinking, how does that kind of show up in marketing strategy? And it is that potentially that business individual owner who has these big goals, but they're, kind of inconsistent in that repeatable system behind it, right? And so they're running campaigns and posting constantly, but none of it's kind of clear tied to that like clear strategy. And so I
Mhm.
can imagine that's a tough situation to be in. One, you've got all this moxie, right? All of this stuff that you want to put out there and these great ideas, but you're just not getting a consistent message across. The message is great,
Mhm.
not the visibility is not there. If we put that on the flip side, and you are constantly posting and constantly getting the ads right, and your budget is there and you're spending, but you don't have this great vision and this hook line or call to action or whatever it might be, we're unbalanced again. And the number one spot we don't want to be in is that low, where it is no clear message, just random acts of marketing. Is that a thing? That's how sometimes I feel. I'm just random
Yeah.
acts of marketing. And so no system and no clear message, you're kind of left struggling in both areas. But where are you seeing this in your relationships with clients, and how are you kind of tackling that?
Okay. So you've got no system and no message. You got great system with no message, or you've got not a great system. Is that what you said?
Yeah, not a great system and
But
not a great
strong
message.
message. In social media specifically, I think what this could look like is if you have a really strong branding, like you've invested in your branding, you've invested in your culture, but you don't have a system for putting that out there. So like you're not posting consistently. You're not taking advantage of the branding that you have. So many people like invest in their branding. They, go to one of these great branding companies that we have and get all of the things that they need and then just like leave it right there. And it works for a little while, but there's so much more that you could be doing with that. And especially on social media, you're just not, and you're just kind of waiting. And like the longer that you wait, the longer you have to wait to reap the benefits of it. So then there's people who are doing a ton for marketing. So maybe they have, they're running ads. They've got SEO, PPC, LSA, social media, but they don't have a great brand. So like you said, they don't have a great messaging. It's not sticky. Or like this could be the same with like a marketing plan or whatever, but we'll just go with the brand thing. So then they don't have a great brand. So then it makes it so much harder for all those things that you're doing to make a huge impact. It's going to take longer. You're going to have to spend more money to get people to remember you. And it's really going to be a much harder, longer battle. And then if you have no brand and you're not focused on your marketing, you're not focused on your social media, and you're just depending on where you've gotten referrals or being the first people to respond to Angie's, you're always going to have to like be putting money into the marketing dollar machine in order like put a dollar in, get a dollar out. So you're never going to get to that point where you're growing organically because of the reputation and the brand that you built. So I feel like that is a good way to look at it. Does that work with your system?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And so we see this show up in all facets of our business. Is it's everywhere. How do you balance those two sides of having that strategy and that spirit, that energy to go or move and be more flexible in how you're doing things and have some more of that bravado, but then where we also putting the great systems in place or finding those individuals that can help us put the system in place by best practices and things that
And
are.
yeah, that's just one system because then you could do it again with like having a marketing plan, which a lot of people struggle with, or having even just a social media plan and not executing it, or not having a plan and not doing anything, or running ads and not having the systems in place afterwards to convert the leads. Like I think there's so many ways that shows up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I can imagine how many people feel like they end up in that kind of low spot where they're not sure what the message is, and they're not consistent yet, and they need help in both areas to level up. I think it's interesting. I follow you obviously and watch you go to the gym, and so circling this back around into even our personal lives is something I'm passionate about. And I have my networking women's group that I coach on goal setting called Bring Your Moxie. And we talk a lot about value-driven goals, right? And how do we come up with what matters to us and what we're getting done, but it's based off of accomplishing more, but more of what matters. And
Mhm.
so where I love to strike that balance in this area too is, hey, you have all of these things that you want to get done, but what systems are you putting in place to allow yourself to be successful? And one of my posts recently was talking about how we combat when willpower isn't there. And
Yeah.
so, I see you constantly going and doing CrossFit, and we all have that, right? We've got these great intentions, and this is what we're going to do, and we're feeling really motivated. Willpower will eventually fail us. And so having some systems in place, the example I had given was that I was always ensuring that my location for my gym or my workout was incredibly close to work. And that
Yeah.
way I had no excuses. It wasn't out of the way. I could quickly leave work. I then stopped doing an open gym and did a gym where you have to sign up for the class. And so I
Right.
got penalized if I didn't show up. And so again, that system created accountability for me to go, well, I'm going to be charged if I don't go, and
Yeah.
close to the house. And so how do you kind of handle that with, I know you're pretty
Yeah.
dedicated though. I see you showing up
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, I started in 2018, so I am definitely have different reasons why it's important to me now than it was when I started. When I started, I had just had my second baby. I was like a year out of having him. So I nursed both of my babies for a year. So it had been a couple months after that. And I gained a lot of weight with him. So I was like uncomfortable with the way that I looked. I What I found with them, it was, like, totally accidental, and I've told this story before where, I was looking for it was a prize for a golf tournament that I was putting on, so I went into this gym, but what they ended up telling me is that they had this 6-week challenge going on, so that was how I started. So, in order to get my money back, I invested $500 into this 6 weeks challenge, and in order to get my money back, I had to come 3 days a week and lose 25 pounds. So I had to like follow this eating routine and go 3 times a week so that I could get my money back. And we didn't have any money at the time. So like I needed to get this money back. This was like a commitment that I made. So that was how it started. It was, but there were some things that made it easier. Like it is still very, very close to my house. Like I can get there in like 2 minutes. It's very close. It is a place where there's community. So I see the same people every day. I have coaches telling me what to do. I always tell people if they don't have a fitness journey now, like you have to find something that you like. like, you're not going to do something that you don't like. It has to be. And for me, CrossFit is attractive because it is different every single day. And I hate monotony when it comes to working out. Like I definitely have a lot of like I eat the same thing for lunch every day. So you can't say that like I don't have patterns of things that I do. But when it comes to working out, if I know it's going to suck, I don't want to do it. So I need like, it needs to look like, oh, this probably isn't going to be that bad, even if it is, but at least then it's over. And then tomorrow is a new day and it's a new workout and it's a new, whatever. So those were some things that made it easier. But you're right. Like it's not about motivation and willpower. It's about systems and consistency. And that's how you build a business. That's how you reach your rocks in EOS. That's how your marriage is sustainable. That's how you lose weight. Like everything depends on consistency when you can't see that it's working, so that you can look back, your social media presence, your marketing, you can look back 6 months, a year and see the difference.
Yeah, I love what you said about the workout works for you because of it having a different theme every day. It's different stuff. It's gonna kind of surprise you a little bit. And you're like,
Yeah.
what am I getting into today? Like,
Yeah.
um, and what I can say about the change for me. So if you're an owner and you're in what is like decision fatigue, where all day long you're making decisions, right? And so you hit a point where you just don't have any more left. Don't make the gym be another place to make more decisions. And when
Right.
we started out, that's what I was doing. I had to go in, I had to pick what machine, I had to pick what weights. I was like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah. And
But
like make a new system. Like you're like
now
having to
I'm
manage
thinking
yourself
again.
there.
Yes. And I'm like,
Yeah.
now I'm thinking more. So when I chose the other type of activity for us here, we have Orange Theory. It's called Spenga, but similar thing, right? Pick
Yeah.
something that removes that from you. So when you
That's
go in,
yes, you're absolutely right.
20
The
minutes
gym
of
is
spin.
someplace where like someone's telling me what to do. It's like the only place in my life that I don't have to like
Yes.
set anything up, make any decisions. Someone else tells me what to do for a whole hour.
And that's how it was. It is for me at Spenga is you go in, you get on the bike, you're going to spin. They're going to tell you when to go faster, when to go slower, when to move your butt, and get going. And then they're going to walk you through your strength and then you're going to do yoga. And so in 1 hour, it's done and I'm out. And I'm like, I did it.
Yeah.
It's over. And I didn't have to think about it. So those are
Yeah,
those
that's
things too.
so
Again,
smart.
find that thing that allows you to not create roadblocks. And so remove the roadblock. Ugh, I don't even want to think about what I'm going to do at the gym today. I don't have to. I'm just going to go and they're going to tell me. So
I love that. That's so I've never thought of it like that, but that is one of the reasons that I love the gym because I can literally be like a child. I'm like, no, like that feeling of just like coming to a class and somebody telling me what to do. And I've never put those two things together. So that's pretty cool. You're
yeah, I'm sure it's
right.
incredibly calming for you. It's because of decision fatigue.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing to think about. There's no one to manage.
Yeah.
So nice. I love that. Cool. Okay. Well, we are coming down to the end here and I want to be sure that we got everything out that you wanted to talk about. Was there anything that we missed that you want to be sure that is mentioned?
I don't think so. I think we covered a good bit. Even my mushroom
Okay.
coffee random.
Yeah, seriously.
Lots of bonus.
I saw it at Costco the other day. Okay, so the last thing that we do here at the Kee To Growth podcast is ask our guests, what is the key to growth?
Oh gosh. Okay. Mine is definitely I don't want to keep talking about balance, but finding what fills your cup and knowing that you are going after goals that are driven by what you value. And that will always motivate you to keep moving when it's something that is creating fulfillment and enjoyment in your life. So no matter how much work it is, the old saying, like, if you are doing what you love, you never work a day in your life. You can work really, really hard at something that's not ultimately fulfilling you. And that
Yeah,
creates that burnout. So I think the key to growth is ensure that you're aligned with your values and what you actually want, and you will take off.
I love that. If people want to connect with you, where should they go? How can they find you online?
I was nowhere before. Now I'm all the places. I'm on LinkedIn, Roslyn Fitzgibbons. I'm on Instagram at Bring Your Moxie and bringyourmoxie.com, or you can email me at roslyn@bringyourmoxie.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm there. I'm there now.
Yay!
You can find me.
Awesome. Good for you. Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been incredible.